Something wrong with the camera?
No, it's recorded through New York, so we just have to make sure all the channels are correct. It'll be quick. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. And you, okay. How was the audio? Audio's good? Okay. 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 Sound check for me, please. Just count 1 to 5, please.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, looks good. Looks good. All right.
All right, thank you, David. All right.
Thank you. Okay, are we sitting here?
That'd be great. Yes. Thank you.
You want to stay in here too?
Mhm.
You want a chair? No, cool. You can just set this.
Okay.
Good. We're good?
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Go time. Penny, thank you for coming to AP.
Thanks for having me.
We're here to talk about your 20th studio album, which is a big number. I have to ask, when you're doing something that, like, you know, the number 20, does it make you kind of consider or reflect on the entirety of your career? Do you feel like a veteran when you get to your 20th studio album, I guess?
It didn't make me feel any different, to be honest with you. I mean, it's impressive, but I think I've been feeling like a veteran since I made my maybe 4th or 5th record. But yeah, it's an impressive number. I'm trying to remember all the records I've made, but it's been a lot of years. It's been 40 years.
Yeah, and I suppose it's just interesting to think about this album, and in terms of like the documentary that came out a couple of years ago, that you've maybe been asked to self-reflect in some ways, and I'm sort of curious if you have been in any way since the album, or since the documentary came out. Excuse me.
You know, I think about, what do I think about on a regular basis when it comes to me? Just more grateful, I think, as the years go by, about the career I've had and the gigs that I still get to play. So I feel pretty fortunate that even after all these years, I still have lots of venues that still want me to come back, and people who still want me to play, and I get to go around the world and play, you know, this week in California. On Monday I go to Thailand, got a big show there, some shows in Vietnam. It's like, wow, the fact that my music has found its way across the globe, and people seem to enjoy my style of playing and the way that I write my songs and the way I play my saxophone. It's more reflecting on just how grateful I am that all those things came together, you know. It's not just my hard work, because I work hard. I practice every day for 3 hours still, every single day. I really care about playing the saxophone as great as I can play it. It's not just that. There's more to it. There's the timing of things, then there's the intangibles of why does a melody sound good to me, and why does the melody that sounds good to me also sound good to most of the world? Why? Very lucky that just seems to be that way. So, yeah, if I reflect, it's more about being grateful for what I've had and where I'm at now.
Lucky, and also obviously incredibly well studied. I want to kind of get into the idea of lullabies in relation to this album, particularly because it seems like that might be a formative musical love for a lot of people. Maybe some of the first songs we remember hearing, and I wonder if you have any sort of early musical memories of lullabies that kind of informed this album.
Good question. I don't know. I mean, when I remember melodies, I would think more of like Rockabye Baby would be like probably the most famous one in my world. But I don't think it was really that memory that inspired the record. It's kind of like, I mean, I always was making a joke about the fact that I've already made music that people get engaged to, then I made music that they get married to, and then they tell me how they make babies to my music. I said, well, I got to complete the circle now. Let me make a record that you can use it to put them to sleep, you know. But of course, all my songs, you know, the slow ballads, you could call them lullabies in some ways. But I just I'm in love with beautiful melodies, is what I think I'm really attracted to. So when I made my Christmas record, my first one in 1994, those are beautiful melodies that I've known my whole life. So how do I make them sound unique and put my little stamp on it, my sound, my signature? So same thing with the lullabies. How am I going to make these lullabies, these songs that everybody knows, how am I going to make them sound like maybe something that's just not for a child. It could be something that anybody listens to would say, that's beautiful. Like my Christmas record, I get a lot of feedback that says, oh, we listen to your record, your Christmas record all year round. And I'm thinking, I can understand why you would do that. Because those are beautiful melodies, and I think the arrangements that I've done on them are just classic, great arrangements. You know, the kind that I would do that for me and my saxophone. It's like, what's going to be the arrangement of Rockabye Baby that I play on this saxophone that's going to sound awesome to me? And so I do that. And then hopefully people will relate to that in the same way. And maybe they'll look at the record as not a lullaby album for children. They'll look at it as an album of beautiful songs that they remember. And hopefully the originals that I've written that I think will complement the melodies of the lullabies, I think they'll embrace them as well.
You know, I was so happy that you were going to go this way in this conversation, because I think the most consistent thing about your career is this melodic appreciation. In some ways, now that this album exists, I'm sort of like, how did this not exist beforehand? It seems like maybe a very sort of clear through line of appreciation. Yeah. Like that's what lullabies are. They're all these sort of memorable melodies. And so along those lines, was this an idea you were sitting on for quite some time? How does the concept come to you? I
think it's been a while. I think, when did I start thinking about it? I thought maybe after doing the Christmas record. So that's been like 30 years. So now it hasn't been in my mind for 30 years. But it's more like, where am I going to take, well, the idea of melodies. Like I can write my melodies, which I've done, and I don't know how to explain it. It's more like the more feedback I get that people tell me that they take my music into their very private moments of their life, not just in the bedroom. I'm not just talking about that, although I hear a lot of that. But I mean, my dad and I really appreciated your music in the car. He passed away. You know, your songs mean a lot to me. I hear that a lot. Not that specific story, but you know what I'm saying. That kind of thing. My parents played your music in the house when we were growing up, and we have a lot of great moments together. Your music was like maybe the background, or we'd sit and listen in the car. So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's beautiful. So a lullaby album would be that you're going to probably play this because you know that it's the word lullaby. You'll probably take it and go, well, I'm going to play it with my kids. And maybe it'll be kids that are 20, 30 years old kids, and you share a melody with them. So I think it was more about making something that people could share in their family and intimate moments where they connect with other people that are really important to them. So, but that's part of it. And the other part of it is that the melodies interest me, and I like challenges, and I love the melodies. So how am I going to make these melodies mean something to me musically? So those things go together.
Right. You know, I'm curious again, I guess, about this album and even the title, Innocence, because what you're describing feels like a sort of innocent connection between this sort of like, I guess, the inherent generational appeal of lullabies, because it is this sort of shared familial experience. And I wonder, like, is there significance to the term innocence to you in terms of this album?
Yeah, I thought about a child, really, a child where pretty much every child born has an innocence to them. So I kind of thought of it as, since it's lullabies, you're thinking about kids, you're thinking about young kids, although I will stand on my statement that this album is not just for kids. But that's where I got the word innocence from, and I felt like it was the right term for these melodies, because they're just really sweet melodies that are meant to just be sweet melodies.
Yeah. A couple of years ago, you spoke to AP, or maybe it was a year ago, some distance of time, and you said something to the effect of, you consider your legacy, at least you hope that your legacy will allow people to connect with jazz music that you love and sort of continue this sort of history. And I'm wondering if that idea also connects to the idea of lullabies. If this is in some way, I mean, you're sharing music that is obviously very familiar and sort of understood, but I wonder if there's something to that idea, or if the legacy of this album in your mind might change or alter that idea.
Well, I think that there's lullabies that people know in our culture, and then there's some classical lullabies that Chopin has done a couple, and I did a couple on this record. So maybe some of that will spark their interest in looking up what melodies constitute lullabies around the world. I mean, ultimately, if this album is very, very well received, I'll probably would then just go to another country, not literally go or physically go, but I could go, well, what are the French lullabies? What are the Japanese lullabies? What lullabies did they grow up with in these different countries? And maybe I can make an album specifically for different regions, and I will learn something about different lullabies. Let's see what the common thread is. So for me, the common thread seems so far is that the melodies are very simple, and they resolve themselves. Like there's always a way of it coming back to something. It's not a melody that just goes. It goes, but then it has a feeling of coming back to where it started. So that seems to be a good theme, and that's when I wrote my melodies for this record. I kept that in mind.
Yeah, I love the idea of going to other cultures and pulling from that tradition, because
Yeah.
it's something we all experience, but maybe have different sort of songs and such. So I have to wonder, will you do a Chinese lullaby record?
Why not? I mean, I don't have to speak Chinese. The good thing is I would just have to do my research and find out, okay, what songs did the Chinese people grow up listening to when they were in their, let's just say, young ages. And I would do some research and go, okay, what are the melodies? Then I have to study the melodies and see, okay, can I play those melodies? Do they mean something to me? Or I might have to do an interpretation of the melodies. And if I do, would it offend anybody if I'm not playing it exactly the way that maybe some of the Chinese instruments that they play it on, I can't play those notes that way. Maybe there's some sort of the way they slide into notes. So I would have to do a lot of research on it. But I think in my history, my instincts on that are pretty good. So if I hear a melody and go, I'm going to change that just a little bit because it will makes more sense to me. And then I think that I get away with it, and people seem to enjoy that. So I would do it that way. That's how I would research it per country.
Yeah, that's fascinating, because your music is so global, and I imagine a lot of the reason is because it's instrumental, and there's still these incredible considerations to take into note that I don't know if people think of it, or I don't know if it's as top of mind as it is for you, of course, being a virtuosic musician.
Well, I did a record a long while ago. I don't remember which one it was, but at that point, each region wanted me to do like a special song for their region. They sent me all these songs. Like I got a song from Japan, I got a song from Indonesia, got songs from Spain, et cetera, and they said, okay, we want you to do a cover of one of these songs that just the whole country knows this song. Of course, I never heard them because I didn't grow up there. So I had to do my research and see what made most sense, and then I'd have to do like an arrangement of it and see if I could figure out if it's going to work within the not the scale, but the range, because this instrument has a certain range of that sounds good. So it could get really low, it can get really high, but those aren't necessarily the notes that I would play in certain melodies. So all that goes into consideration on whether a song makes it on one of my records or not. And I'm very, very particular about what gets on the final cut on my records.
So were there songs or lullabies, I guess, that you were exploring, that you were either writing or attempting to arrange in a certain Kenny G fashion that didn't make this record because it didn't? I assume you have sort of an innate understanding that maybe before you go in and you sort of experiment. But.
Yeah, I probably knew going in. I don't think I worked on anything that didn't quite make it. I think I have one that I wrote that I kept off the record only because, why did I keep it off the record? And there was something about it that it just is beautiful and I love it. It just didn't work with the way that I couldn't find a spot for it in the sequence. Although I know that means nothing now. People don't care about sequence of your album because they just take a song here, a song there, and it's not like that. An album where you put the A. I mean, in the old days we would go, well, the A side starts here, and then you'd flip the album over and you put the B side, and it was very much of a thought process on what song went to the next song. I still think that way. So when I put my record together, if it's 12 songs, okay, what's the first song? How does it go to the second song? And I couldn't find a spot for this one. And let's see, is there any other song? I kind of feel like I tried one and didn't work, but I can't remember right now.
That's fair. And it's very clear that you think about sequencing, and I always appreciate that, to really enjoy an album as a whole art project.
Yeah.
Or product, rather. I think, to conclude a little bit here, because you do have to run, you're on tour now. This is night 2, I think. Well, this will air a little bit later than that.
So, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm curious what fans can expect. Surely you're not attempting to lull anybody to sleep.
No, I'm already accused of putting people to sleep with my music, so the last thing I want to do is play lullabies during my concert. The whole audience will be asleep. I'll take a nap probably at some point during my show. But, I think the conception that people might think about my concerts, if they've never been, would be that it's a very relaxing, mellow, romantic, quiet evening. Now, we have moments like that, plenty of them. But it's much more up-tempo and much more high energy than you would imagine. I save a lot of the arpeggios and, let's say, the scales that I can just fly through. I save those for my shows because they're very exciting and people can be impressed, and it's part of the show. It's a show. So I think that people, when they come to my concerts, I know from what I've heard from feedback, they didn't expect it to be so energetic. They didn't expect to be so uplifted, and so that's I'm proud of that. And what I do is, when I put my show together, it's like sequencing an album. It's the same thing. How do you start? How does it go from one song to the other? Who's playing the solos here? And doing it in a way that we can connect with our audience, and so that we keep them with us the whole time. And it's a challenge. Some nights the things that I know will work, sometimes they don't seem to be working, and we'll have to just figure something out on the spot and come up. That maybe we need another up-tempo song right away, or maybe it's time we got to settle this crowd down. They're too wild. I know it sounds crazy, but it happens. So let's play another ballad real quick right now. When I go to Asia, I have to play different songs because there's different songs that are popular from my records there, and I have to figure out. And also, we play a couple of songs that are that are actually songs that came from the Asian songbook that I know how to play. There's a song called "The Moon Represents My Heart." It's a very popular song all throughout Asia. One of the most popular songs that was ever written for people in Asia, and we play that, and every audience goes crazy when we play it, even though it's a vocal song. But it's considered a wedding love song. It's a song that people play at their weddings. And so we play that sometimes, or no, every time we go to Asia. So that's the calculation, how to put the show together so that we connect. That's the main thing. It's about connection.
And being open to improvise, I guess, which is...
Well, we're jazz musicians, so yeah,
jazz.
that's the whole thing. We improvise. And the good thing about having the same group for the last 40 years is that we know each other so well that when I'm playing something and I hear my piano player Robert play something, which I've heard him play for 40 years, I know where he's going, and he might know where I'm going, and then we take it someplace where we didn't plan. And that's great that we pay attention to each other when we're playing. That's the whole thing about playing jazz is that you let it come in. I have an idea what I want to do, and I start. And I go with what I'm thinking I want to play, but it's pretty spontaneous, and it can change in a flash.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of it. Well,
that is the beauty of it. I think that's what people want to see when they come to a concert. You don't want to see something that's already laid out. You want it to be, that night is a concert that they've never played before, and they're playing it just for me. And we try to do that.
I always appreciate when the live performance is different than just the experience of listening to an album.
Yeah.
I know other people would disagree, but that's...
Well, I want the quality of the sound to be as good as the albums, but obviously we do the best we can. Our world has certain technological things that you can use to make live music sound great, and we spare no expense. So we have the best sound systems, the best microphone, and so we try our best to make it sound amazing. But I don't want to repeat the exact notes on the record because they sounded great on the record, but live it's not going to be the same. So I have developed a different way of playing my songs live that I think works a lot better than I would if I just repeated the album. And that's how it works.
That's great. Well, Kenny, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us.
My pleasure.
All right. I'm gonna get David to take your mic off, and
Oh,
you
I,
guys can be free.
I think I can. I think I can handle that part.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I think so.
Timing wise, you are looking okay. You'll get there in about 50 minutes.
5-0.
5-0.
Yeah, I figured from downtown it's not that bad.
Right.
All right.
So you will be there before 1.
Great, perfect.
The issue with this room is like time just doesn't make no idea.
Yeah,
For like
but
20 minutes
it
or
was-
2 hours, but it
Yeah.
seems like we locked it in.
Oh,
That's perfect.
Oh,
Yeah.
I did. Thank you very much.
yeah.
You park, so you get a parking thing,
Oh, you're the best.
and you also get a parking